Bob Metcalfe, you've lived through a lot of booms and busts in the technology business. At the moment, there's a massive boom in social media. Everything's going social. Facebook now is valued, I think at the last, every hour it goes up a few $100 million. What's your view on social in the current internet boom? Does it have legs, and where is it going?
I think there's ample proof it has legs, and it's very exciting, and it's sort of an unintended consequence of having done all that plumbing 30, 40 years ago. So I see there are two kinds of innovations. There's the kind of innovations in which you build platforms like the internet, and that would be where I came in, helping to build that. But then once you have these platforms, there's another generation of innovation which is exploiting them. So we saw that with the web and then search, and now we're seeing it with social, and I'm very excited as to what comes after social, what it'll be. But I think, now there is a bubble now. There's clearly, just look around you, there's a social networking bubble. It will burst like all previous bubbles have, and I'm kind of curious where it goes next.
Well, before we get on to where it goes next, do you see then social as being fundamentally different from search? Do you see this shift, as John Doerr talks about, from a Google-centric internet to a Facebook-centric one?
I always agree with John Doerr. So the search was connecting documents, social is connecting people, and so where do we go next? That'll be fun. So by the way, my daughter works at Facebook, so I have to disclose that. So I'm rooting for Facebook.
What does she do there?
She's in sales.
What is she selling?
Advertising.
Do you worry, though, about this complete faith in social and its impact on privacy? Where do you stand on the public and privacy issue? Many people feel very strongly that Facebook is doing away with privacy.
Well, concerns about privacy are as old as the hills, and thank God we've had people worried about it for decades and decades, if not centuries. So the privacy, you like it when the guy behind the counter at the bank knows you and can accommodate your wishes because they're familiar with you. So that's the positive side of their knowing about you. And then there's a negative side, and we'll always have both sides. And so privacy versus personalization. That's the opposite. Personalization versus privacy, that's an eternal conflict, and the pendulum will swing back and forth. So no, I don't think privacy is a fatal flaw of social.
So what comes after social, Bob?
Well, I'm looking. In my own case, I've turned to energy, being innovating in energy. So that would be a big thing. But perhaps you're asking about the next big thing on the internet.
Yeah.
So I think there's three urgent industries that need to be disrupted by the internet the way previous ones have, and those three would be the pretty obvious ones: energy, education, and healthcare. So those are the next three, I think, that the internet is going to disrupt and improve.
And what do you see the internet doing in particular to energy?
Well, I'm currently arguing that the best way to look at the energy problem, as solving energy, developing an abundant sources of cheap and clean energy, the best way to attack that problem is to view it as a network problem. So that in the coming decades, organizing our thoughts around energy as a network for the generation and intermittent exchange of energy.
And will the network effect, your own law, also revolutionize education and healthcare?
Healthcare and I was at a healthcare event just yesterday, and I could just hear it. No one quite says it the way internet people talk over there in healthcare land, but you can hear the intrinsic network. Electronic medical records is at the core of solving the healthcare problem, and that's a networking and standards and formats problem, very much like the problems the internet has previously solved.
And in education?
In education, education needs to go social and less bricks and mortar, I think, and we're seeing that now. I think the market share of education is shifting away from going to school, and we're learning so much more now online, at home, traveling around, rather than just sitting in a building being educated. So I sense just Harvard and MIT and all of our high schools should be worried or excited by the possibility that the internet is going to disrupt what they do.
And do you see major entrepreneurial opportunities in these three sectors?
Absolutely. In fact, I don't think we're going to make progress in those sectors without entrepreneurship. So I'm trying to encourage the entrepreneurs to invade those spaces.
One piece of advice, Bob, to possible entrepreneurs out there thinking of getting into energy or healthcare or education. What have you learned most of all from your different careers? You've been an entrepreneur as well.
Well, you need two things to be a successful entrepreneur. You need to know how to do something. You need a core competence. And then you need to find a need. You need something that needs your core competence. And then after that, you just do it. You just jump into it and try to fulfill that need with what you know how to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.